Hello to you. I am Vettel ASMR, or Vito ASMR as I sometimes like to say, and welcome to today's video. Today I am going to do a requested video where I just do like a soft spoken talk about various places and locations in Norway. I'm not going to get into all of them because like in any country there are so many, but I'm going to get into some of the most prominent towns and cities of Norway and discuss some stuff related to those places. Yeah, so I hope you people who find Norway as a country interesting and want to just learn a little bit more about it will enjoy today's ramble about it. Yeah, but this will be entertaining and relaxing to watch. So I'm going to be honest from the onset of the video with what geography is not my strong suit. Yes, I know which regions most towns and cities lay in, but I'm not going to give details about specific directions and stuff like that because that's not my strength. I'm more into the history and stuff like that. I'm more experienced in terms of stuff like history and society and the study of society and politics and stuff like that. So, but I will nonetheless do my best today to talk about some of the various places in Norway. So Norway is known as a small country, but it is a country which has different types of nature, depending on where in Norway you are. You have the fjords of western Norway, the aurora lights, and the more, how shall I put this, mountainous landscape of northern Norway, and the forested landscape of southern Norway, and also the coastline in the southern and western part of Norway, and also some coastlines in northern Norway, of course. There are different landscapes in Norway, depending on where in Norway you are. But we are not going to get into the whole climate of Norway thing that much today. We're going to talk more about the places. I just wanted to open it up. I, by the way, brought the Norwegian flag with me. I'm going to show that. Which bears relevance actually to one of the places we're going to talk about today. So this is the Norwegian flag, a proud symbol of Norway as a country and nation. Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. So white, blue and red, that's the Norwegian flag. And I'm just going to put it up there. And one of the famous places of Norway, it's Eidsvoll. And Eidsvoll is actually where the constitution, Norway's constitution, was signed more than 200 years ago. In 1814, the Norwegian path to independence was paved when several prominent people of Norwegian society came together at Eidsvoll and signed the constitution, Norway's constitution. And in 1905, Norway got full independence and its own king. So, I'm not going to get into the details of all of that now, but that's the point. Eidsvoll is famous for being where the Norwegian constitution was signed on the 17th of May 1814, and that's why Norwegian National Day is always on the 17th of May. Okay, let's get on to other stuff. One of the more famous places in Norway is definitely the capital, Oslo, or capital. So this place includes a lot of prominent stuffs, including several hotels, the clock, Major Square, and stuff. No, apologies, Major was the wrong word, I believe, but the clock square by the coastline, but also our parliament, the Storting. The Storting is a parliament. It's where our politicians work, or representatives, elected from all over the country. And opposite to the Storting, a little further up actually, you can say, the Storting is here, and then far up on the other side of the Karl Johan Square is the castle of the king, or monarch. And because Norway, or head of state, is King Harald. He has been head of state since 1991, when he took over from his father, and he is our head of state. He's a ceremonial figure. Our actual state leader is, of course, the Prime Minister, and our incumbent Prime Minister is Jonas Gahr Støre, the leader of the Labour Party. He has been the leader of the Labour Party since 2014 and Prime Minister since 2021. He was elected in 2021 and re-elected just a month ago, and now in 2025. He was also Prime Minister candidate in 2017, but he lost that election, but won the two later ones. So he is our incumbent Prime Minister. And of course, another thing which also is located in Oslo is the Prime Minister's residence. You know, which is also, both that and the castle are well-guarded buildings, but a lot of people come to visit the castle, of course, because it's a very central part of Norwegian identity and culture, the King's Castle, I mean, or the castle of the monarchy. You know, so there's also a beautiful park around the castle, which you can actually walk around in and visit, I believe. So yeah. There's also the National Theatre, you know, which has plays and stuff like that you can watch, and are some of the most notable places in Oslo, and there are of course several other places to see too, including, what was its name again? Akershus Festning is called. The old fortress in Norway, where one of the old Akershus Festning is one of the old fortresses in Norway. It's no longer in use, but you can visit it. It's kind of been converted into a museum place, and it's from really old days in Norway, so to speak. It's actually also where Vidkun Quisling was executed after the Second World War. Vidkun Quisling was, of course, the leader of the National Unity Party, the Norwegian Nazi Party at the time, and when Germany invaded Norway in 1940, Quisling was installed as Prime Minister, and he is not considered a legitimate Prime Minister in Norwegian history because he was installed by occupiers. But he cooperated and collaborated with the occupiers, and when the occupation ended in 1945, he was judged as a traitor to Norwegian society and was subsequently executed at Akershus Festning. So one of the more controversial features of Norwegian history, and it's this history which is why the name Quisling is today synonymous with traitor, because it is considered by Norwegians that Quisling, when he cooperated with the occupying power, betrayed Norwegian society and Norway. Anyway, so just some interesting historical facts for you guys there, I just want to talk about in this relation. In northern Norway, one of the most famous cities is of course Tromsø, but definitely perhaps the most famous city of town city of northern Norway. And northern Norway is of course also very, very famous for its beautiful aurora lights, you know, the northern lights. In my region of Norway, I live very far south in Norway, you cannot see the northern lights. But in northern Norway, you can see the northern lights and the auroras. So if you do want to see the northern lights and the auroras and those beautiful colors in the heaven and sky, visit northern Norway. Okay. In the center of Norway, in the region and county known as Trøndelag, lies the city of Trondheim. I've actually been there many, many years ago. It's a nice city. And Trondheim is of course famous for a few different things, but one of its most famous places is Nidarosdomen, the old church of Nidarosdomen, a centuries old church, many centuries old, and well worth visiting and walking around in. And also, if you can get past those If you can get up to the roof of the Nidarosdomen and see the view, it's also beautiful. Just be warned, you have to get up, you have to go up these stairs, these really tight stairs corridors, and it's really tight and it's a little bit steep, so yeah, just a warning if you have claustrophobia, you know, just a little bit of warning. I thought it was slightly uncomfortable to go up those stairs, but I managed. It was okay. Yeah, the view was worth it. Okay. Nidarosdomen is actually famous for another thing. Nidarosdomen is connected to a very, very old ghost story, because you know a lot of famous places in the world have a famous ghost attached to them, or a ghost story. And so is the case here in Norway. Nidarosdomen has that. Nidarosdomen is said to be haunted by a centuries-old monk. The monk in Nidarosdomen, or as we Norwegians say, munken i Nidarosdomen. The monk at the Nidarosdom. The Nidarosdom monk. He has apparently, if the legends are true, haunted its steps for quite some time now, and a lot of people claim to have seen this old monk still walk its halls in his ghostly ways. So maybe if you dare, you can try look for this ghostly monk as you, well, if you want to visit Trondheim and Nidarosdomen Church, want to look for this ghostly monk as you look around and, you know, just visit the place, and maybe, just maybe, you'll catch a glimpse of this elusive monk, who is said to, even though he probably died centuries ago, is still haunting the steps of the old church. If you believe in that sort of stuff, anyway. But it's a cool ghost story, nonetheless. And you know, and famous places like this needs a ghost story attached to them. Just to be clear about my personal opinions on this, I am very, very, very open-minded on subjects like this, and I'm even a little superstitious. So, but anyway, let's move on. So yeah, do tell me if you see the ghost talk. Anyway, if you ever decide to visit Trondheim, that is. But let's move on to other places in Norway. That's also, of course, one of the most famous cities of Norway is Bergen. And Bergen is actually where our former Prime Minister Erna Solberg is from. She was Prime Minister of Norway from 2013 to 2021, and she is the incumbent leader of the Right Party, or Høyre as we in Norway say. But she will soon step down as leader, and the party will soon have a new leader. But she was Prime Minister for 8 years on behalf of his party, and she is from Bergen, actually. And Bergen is, of course, located in Western Norway, in the beautiful fjords of Western Norway, because Western Norway, while there are fjords, other places in the country too, Western Norway is very, very famous for this, for the fjords and the nature and stuff like that. And it's also famous, I'm going to get slightly into food here, while it's eaten other places in Norway too. I believe that, you know, there is at least a Western variant of what we, Western Norway variant of what we Norwegians call for lefse. And lefse is a kind of Norwegian pastry. I don't have it right now, so I can show you too. But it's a kind of Norwegian delicious type of pastry with some butter in it and stuff like that. And Western Norway has its own version of that. You know, the food culture in Norway varies a little from place to place, you know. Anyway, so, but yeah, but in Western Norway, one of the most famous cities is Bergen, definitely. And of course, a lot of people also enjoy the views of the Bergensbanen, the Bergen Line, which is like this train railway, which you can take from Oslo to Bergen or something like that, to sort of just take the train through beautiful parts of the country with beautiful views, you know. So this is one of the most famous things to do in Norway. I believe we've gotten through a lot of the things I want to talk about now, but there is maybe some more before we're done. So, well, there are of course many different places in Norway to visit. In a lot of places in Norway there are beautiful, mysterious, foggy forests, and these mysterious, beautiful Nordic forests are of course often the origin and inspiration of the various Norwegian fairy tales, which often features trolls as a central creature, because trolls are a very central part of the Norwegian identity, because they feature so prominently in Norwegian fairy tales, you know. And in Norwegian fairy tales often there are these terrifying trolls which reside in the forest and is often a threat to the locals and stuff like that. And some of the trolls are small, some are big. A lot of them are actually quite big. They're like giant trolls. It varies a little from tale to tale. But anyway, that's a central part of Norwegian culture and identity. So yeah. And that's why in Norwegian souvenir shops and stuff you will often find troll figures and similar and stuff like that, which you can buy. Often trolls with Norwegian flags and stuff, and you know, yeah, small trolls, by the way, small trolls, sculptures and figures, souvenirs essentially, and they will often carry things associated with Norway, like the Norwegian flag and stuff like that. So yeah. Another place in Norway I can mention is of course Fredrikstad and Halden and Fredriksten Festning. These places lay closer to the border to Sweden, and that's interesting because there is a very interesting story connected to this, especially Fredriksten Festning. So many centuries ago, around 1718, that far back actually, back when Norway was actually ruled by Denmark, Sweden and the Swedish warrior king Karl XII attempted to launch an incursion and sort of invasion into Norway and waged a war on Norway. But he didn't succeed, and it actually became his downfall and end of his life, because at Fredriksten Festning in 1718, towards the end of that year, he was actually shot. No one knows the exact circumstances, who shot him or anything. It's been the subject of debate and conspiracies for centuries, so no one among historians, so no one knows, but that essentially became the end of the Swedish incursion into Norway at the time. Karl XII was an ambitious Swedish warrior king, so this was part of his campaign, but this campaign also became the end of his life, and it's a very famous part of Norwegian history. And this is of course during the Great Nordic War from the early 1700s, the 1710s essentially. So I just wanted to add a bit of history here too, for you guys who enjoy that. I believe I've talked a lot about a little different stuff in Norway right now, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I truly do. Yeah, I'm not sure there's that much more I can mention. I mean, there are of course lots of other places I can mention, but I'm not sure there is much more I intend to mention right now. But I hope you enjoyed my ramble today, so far at least, or actually, I'm probably finishing up now, so I hope you enjoyed my ramble today. Actually, I want to talk a little about Norwegian National Day, the 17th of May, before we're done. So, the 17th of May is based on the Constitution Day. The Constitution signed at Eidsvoll, which I talked about earlier in the video, near the beginning, I believe. Apologies, I think I'm just a little tired right now. I've been filming it. yeah, the Constitution signed at Eidsvoll in 1814. Again, apologies to you guys for this slight delay there. And of course, we Norwegians still now, 2 centuries later, celebrate National Day, and we celebrate National Day, you know, with waving flags and stuff like that, and with watching the children's parade. A parade children on various schools from all over the country can participate in, and which I participated in when I was a child. This happened on the 17th. This happens on the 17th of May every year. So, and then we of course also have good food and cakes or snacks and stuff like that. I know a lot of Norwegians like to eat bacon crisp during 17th of May for some reason. And you know, it's just, yeah, it's a day for celebration where we celebrate our culture and nation and Norwegian culture and identity, you know. Okay, I just wanted to add there, that right there at the end, because it seemed kind of relevant to a video where I just talked a little about Norway. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about Norway today. Maybe I'll do more talking about Norway videos later on. I hope so, and I wish you all the best and a great week. All the best.